hungover, a bag of Lay's chips,
some Gatorade,
and zero training. This is how my first powerlifting competition went. Horribly. So, of course, I got angry.
I fucking needed that.
For the next 100 days straight, I ate and trained as hard as I possibly could.
Well, it's time to eat. A lot.
A comeback story, one could say. But now what? With a qualifying total of 545 kilos or 1,200 pounds, we knew before I even hit this last deadlift that I was going to my first provincial powerlifting meet. So here's the plan. I just finished my cut from roughly 215 to 205 in just 30 days, but due to the extremity of the mini cut, my strength losses were substantial. From 435 to 365 on squat, from 550 to 455 on deadlift, and from 280 to 265 on the bench press. Although here's the silver lining. I qualified for provincials in my last competition in the 105 kilo or 230 pound weight class, and you're allowed to change weight classes as long as you've hit the total at the class you want to switch to. And of course I timed my mini cut to conclude at 93 kilos, putting my body at exactly the upper range of this class.
I don't think I can add any more.
Optimizing my body for this division with the maximum amount of muscle and lowest amount of fat. But here's the issue. I've only got 6 weeks until provincials, and I have to get my wisdom teeth pulled halfway through.
How the fuck am I gonna get all my strength back in time?
Well, let's see. First, obviously we're going to be switching back to eating at maintenance again.
Oh, and thank God for that.
This can be done super easily, by the way, by taking the same cutting or bulking meals you currently eat and simply making slight calorie increasing or decreasing adjustments. Let's look at my case, for example. I'm going to be adding my favorite bulking supplement, MCT oil,
Medium chain triglyceride oil,
to my protein shakes along with a banana, yogurt, and peanut butter, and adding 1 additional avocado toast to my breakfast. For dinner, I'll be eating the same thing, but instead using butter when cooking my rice and a squirt of ranch with my chicken. And if I ever get hungry throughout the day, my favorite bulking snack is cashews because they are high in calories and punch a little bit of protein as well.
1,000 calories per cup though, so be careful not to overdo it.
Now for training. What's the best powerlifting program for peaking that can be done in the shortest length of time?
I think by now you guys obviously know I'm going to be running the small lob again. Hate it all you want, it hasn't failed me yet.
The small lob is an amateur slash beginner,
depending on who you ask,
high intensity program that is recommended for only the squat and bench press that comes in 2 forms. The 3-month full small lob that we just completed for my provincials run, and the 3-week small lob junior that we tested last year. Due to my time constraint, I'm going to be running the small lob junior peaking program. It consists of just 12 training days and can easily rake in 30 to 60 pound 1 rep max increases, or even more in some cases. But I need my squat and bench back. So I'm going to be stacking 2 of these programs, you can use small lob for both, on top of one another with 0 rest days. 12 squat days and 12 bench days is 24 training days. But I'm going to need to leave a few days to rest and recover before the meet.
No homo, no homo.
And after I get my wisdom teeth taken out. So let's start training 30 days before my weigh-in. That leaves me with this week still to fill up, which I'm going to be using to get my foundational strength back with my favorite hypertrophy split, the push-pull legs.
But not just any PPL, fellow Canadian Jeff Nippard's smartest push-pull legs routine.
Let's go. Whoa. Now, before we start the small lob junior, you need to know your 1 rep max to build the program. Let's retest my maxes after a week of training at maintenance to see if they've increased at all. So we're going to go with 365 pounds because 385 did not go very well. And then for my bench press, I'm not exactly sure what my 1 rep max is, but we're going to go with 265 as a pause rep as I managed 275 for 2. Now that we have my 1 rep max, we can let small lob create the program for us.
But this time I'm going to be doing things a little bit different.
The first time I did the small lob, I was still a beginner in the powerlifting world. I inflated my PR to make the program harder.
So obviously I'm going to enter 300 pounds.
My form wasn't proper and I was way too focused on increasing my numbers. Now the second time around when I did the regular small lob, I learned from my mistakes and instead used 90% of my 1 rep max and improved my form.
This time I'm going to be using the 4-2-2 method, or 2-2-4 method, whatever, depending on if your exercise starts the concentric or eccentric, doesn't really matter.
What is this? 4 seconds of eccentric, a 2-second pause, and a 2-second explosive concentric. Why?
To increase time under tension or to optimize for muscle growth and strength, my friends.
How? By slowing down your lift so you can focus on proper breathing, alignment, and movement patterns. This can help you develop muscular control, correct posture, and better stability.
Essentially get strong as fuck. And maybe prevent some injury as well.
So for this, I'm going to be using just 80% of my 1 rep maxes.
We've come a long way, my friends, a long way.
And with these numbers, I can now easily create my small lob program with the small lob junior calculator.
Let's begin.
From benching 280 at my last meet to now training with 150 pounds.
Dude, my legs are jelly right now. This is gonna be fun, guys.
And it really was fun, and it was going smoothly up until this point. And then I got my wisdom teeth removed and buzzed my head to a literal buzz cut. And despite the surgery, I continued to train, and then this happened.
My wisdom teeth are bleeding everywhere right now.
Despite this, with the competition coming even closer, I decided to continue to train through the pain. And now I look
Like this. And it hurts a lot. I don't think doing this or training for this is gonna help it at all. So unfortunately, I gotta stop my training the week of my competition.
I guess it's time to focus on eating, resting, stretching, recovering, and just honestly stopping freaking training.
And now I'm sick.
You gotta be kidding me.
Let's just carb load and see what happens.
Alright, so if this powerlifting meet's not gonna go 100% perfectly, I may as well give you a rundown so you know exactly what to expect when you embark on your powerlifting journey.
MTV crib.
So it begins with registration. This is how the ops ensure no one's cheating. They're going to check your membership to make sure you know that steroids, SARMs, test shots, even weed is banned. Everything except for supplements like creatine, basically. Then it's time for equipment check, aka they got to make their bread, so they make sure that your belt, sleeves, singlet, and wraps are all sold by them. Then it's weigh-in time.
Wait, baby, let's go. I don't think I can add anymore.
If you're overweight, don't worry, you get about an hour or two to run around like a headless chicken to drop that extra value Big Mac meal you had the night before. Should've just got the regular.
Buddy's trying to make weight.
Then it's time to set your bar heights
12.5, baby, 12.5. Long ass arms out here.
and select your opening lifts. This is where the nerves really kick in. You don't want to fuck this up and not get on the board. AKA bombing out, as they call it. Way to go easy on the community there. And you can imagine how I feel in this moment coming off a cut, sickness, and surgery while surrounded by giants, and it doesn't help that it's like 6 in the morning at this point. Then it's time to mark your territory and run through your warm-ups that haven't done shit for your shoulders, elbows, knees, lower back, hips, and prepare your equipment,
D-Rock presents.
snacks, and salts, and all the other mental prep stuff that you do. Just try not to look like you're doing anything illegal.
You gonna test it for me?
Then don't forget to check which flight you're in so you know when you're lifting, and pay attention to the briefings, as you'll regret it later if you don't understand the commands. The lifts proceed from squat, which requires depth, past parallel by the way, bench, which is a pause rep by the way, and then finally the deadlift, a strapless deadlift to be exact. By the way, I suggest having a coach, or a handler as they call it, as it really does make this whole process so much easier.
Broski's punching the numbers right now.
Well, I just sit here in my fat ass.
And try your best to stay calm.
Ryan, if you're watching this, I made sure it was 1 pound higher than your all-time PR.
Nobody really gives a shit about you anyways. Like seriously, look at my head. The powerlifting community is usually super kind. Like this guy noticed that I didn't have knee sleeves on my squat, so he offered to let me borrow his.
Naked knees.
Yeah.
Oh, he has his knee sleeves on now.
Oh, he does. Interesting.
And let's be honest, most of these guys were broken and depressed in the past tense. They used that pain to become strong as hell, so why would they need to be dickheads now? And with that, you're ready to start getting high. Yes, you heard that correctly. Getting high on sugar, caffeine, smelling salts, electrolytes, nootropics, and every other carb underneath the sun. Just don't expect to sleep properly for a couple of days. Now let's see how my surgery sickness powerlifting meet went. Spoiler, not well. My first squat was 157 kilograms, or roughly 350 pounds, and it went up easy.
And a good lift for you.
He's got the Excel spreadsheet going. I fucking love this guy, bro.
Then I decided to jump a whole 20 kilos to 391, a 44-pound jump, which is considered a lot in the powerlifting world.
20 kilo jump.
Wow.
Yeah.
And finally, to wrap things up with the squat, I knew I wasn't going to get this, but I thought it'd be funny to try my buddy's PR by jumping another 30 keys to almost 460 pounds, which, as you can imagine, didn't go great.
Unfortunately, no lift for you and on platform 2. Good catch, spotters.
To leaving the comments section on the live stream and my friends at home quite confused.
You on here? Yeah, 207. Wow, that's a big jump.
You win, Ryan. You
My
win.
dad goes, my dad's in the crowd, he goes, yo, any more lifts? Yep, Dad still got bench and deadlift.
12.5 kilos.
Then it was time for the bench press. This is typically a competitive lift for me, as the powerlifting community seems to focus way more on the squat and deadlift as they contribute more to totals. And you know, I like to bench. Well, it wasn't today. My trainer says the first thing you lose when cutting is your push strength, which leads me to believe that part of the reason gym heads hate cutting so much is because they feel like they're losing so much strength. Nah, it's just disproportionately your favorite exercise. And I'm starting to think that that theory is true here, as I struggled to get up 248 pounds, then fail 275 twice, which I was repping before my cut. Darn it. Lastly was the deadlift, which prevented a lot of depression resurgence. Initially, I put down 205 kilos or 450 pounds, but based on my bench press, I decided to drop it down to just 4 plates to play it safe. That absolutely flew, so I gave the 450 a run, and that also absolutely flew. Then I said, fuck it, let's end on a high note here with 500 pounds even, and boom, that shit felt easy. But after all this, I think it's safe to say 2 things. The 4-2-2 method should not be used for powerlifting, and I definitely need to go up a weight class or 3.
That is a 120 plus physique. Hanging out with the 93s. Gotta love it.
So at least he's in good spirits.
He's in good
you know?
spirit.
Yeah.
He looks in good spirit.